You ever play a RPG thinking it'll be chill, and suddenly the game just hates you? Every fight's a nightmare. Every mistake costs hours, and somehow you love it. These are 12 turn-based RPGs that test your patience, your sanity, and your soul, and make the pain worth it. Vagrant Story remains one of the boldest and most punishing RPGs ever made for the original PlayStation. Developed by Square in 2000, it blends brilliance with cruelty in equal measure. Set in the kingdom of Valendia, within the ruined city of Leamon, part of the Ivalice universe shared with Final Fantasy Tactics, the story follows Ashley Riot, a risk-breaker investigating a conspiracy against the crown. What begins as a mission quickly turns into a descent into faith, power, and obsession. Unlike most RPGs of its time, Vagrant Story gives you no party, no mercy, and no shortcuts. You control only Ashley, crafting and upgrading every weapon by hand, managing weight, materials, and affinities. Combat feels like a hybrid between real-time and turn-based precision. You can target enemy body parts to cripple them, but every strike raises your risk gauge, a cruel mechanic that lowers accuracy and defense the longer you fight. Overextend, and the game destroys you. The dungeons of Leamon are intricate, filled with traps, puzzles, and enemies that punish haste. Magic isn't learned, it's discovered in grimoires hidden deep within the ruins. Mastery, not grinding, defines progress. Visually, Vagrant Story was revolutionary for its time. Realistic proportions, cinematic lighting, and haunting atmosphere. It stood apart from its peers with ambition and depth few dared attempt. Even today, it's considered one of Square's finest works, and yet it never received a sequel or remake. No one really knows why. Maybe it was too unique, too complex, or simply too perfect to follow up. Romancing Saga 2 is a full 3D remake of the 1993 Super Nintendo classic, one of Square Enix's most daring and complex RPGs. In a distant age, 7 heroes once saved the world, becoming legends told through generations. But when they return, they're no saviors, only corrupted beings filled with hatred. During an attack led by Kazinsi, Prince Victor of the Varennes Empire is killed, and his father, King Leon, transfers his knowledge and power to his younger son, Gerard, through a forbidden succession spell. The story unfolds across multiple generations, with each new emperor inheriting both the wisdom and burdens of their ancestors. Instead of a single group of heroes, the game focuses on regional tales that shape the fate of the empire. Every mission matters. Each decision expands your rule, alters alliances, or affects future generations. Combat is entirely turn-based and deeply strategic. Characters don't gain levels but improve specific weapon skills through use, unlocking new techniques via the Glimmer system. You must manage life points carefully. When they reach 0, that character dies permanently. Battles reward planning, patience, and adaptation. Exploration is rewarding and non-linear, filled with secrets, treasures, and the memories of the Fallen Seven. The new 3D visuals bring fresh life to the Saga universe while preserving its unforgiving spirit. Every decision leaves scars that echo through time. Beautiful, challenging, and endlessly replayable. Revenge of the Seven proves that legacy and suffering often walk hand in hand. Darkest Dungeon is one of the most merciless RPGs ever made. A dark, twisted experience that feeds on stress, death, and despair. You return to your cursed ancestral estate to purge the evil your forefathers unleashed, hiring adventurers to face the horrors lurking below. But every expedition is a gamble. Your heroes will bleed, break, and die permanently. Death here isn't a setback, it's the rhythm of the game. The loop is cruel but addictive. In town, you recruit and manage your fragile warriors, heal their traumas, and prepare supplies. Then you descend into procedurally generated dungeons, where combat unfolds in brutal turn-based battles. Positioning, timing, and sanity matter as much as strength. The real innovation lies in the stress system. Heroes crack under pressure, developing quirks like paranoia, cowardice, or mania. A healer who's seen too much becomes a pessimist. A soldier turns to alcohol to cope, and a thief develops a crippling fear of the undead. These flaws don't vanish, they linger, shaping each run and forcing you to adapt. Even rest brings no relief, only temporary comfort before another descent into madness. The 2D art style, with its gothic lines and grim color palette, gives Darkest Dungeon its haunting identity. Beneath the beauty lies a cruel design philosophy. In this world, victory comes only through sacrifice. It's a game about endurance, about watching everything crumble, and still pressing forward. Battle Brothers is a ruthless medieval strategy RPG from Overhyped Studios that turns every victory into pure survival. You play as the captain of a mercenary company, traveling through a harsh fantasy world, taking contracts, seeking fortune, and facing heavy losses along the way. Beneath its simple board game visuals lies one of the most demanding turn-based combat systems ever created. Before venturing out, you choose your company's origin, banner, and final crisis, a noble war, an orc invasion, or an undead uprising. None of these paths make things easier. Every decision carries weight, and every battle feels like it could end everything you've built. The map is procedurally generated, filled with towns, ruins, and unexpected encounters, making each campaign unique and unpredictable. Managing your company is just as intense as the fights. You must feed, heal, equip, and pay your soldiers, or morale quickly collapses. In towns, you can recruit new allies, each with different skills, traits, and backstories. Losing an experienced fighter can completely change your tactics, and with permanent consequences for every defeat. Precision is everything. Combat unfolds on hex-based maps where positioning, fatigue, and morale decide who prevails. Every warrior can grow tired or anxious in battle. When someone falls, it can shake the team's confidence. On the other hand, a decisive victory can lift their spirits and turn the tide. Each turn matters, and every choice tests your strategy and patience. Challenging, methodical, and endlessly replayable, Battle Brothers is a true test of leadership, a dark yet satisfying reminder that real victory is earned through resilience, not luck. Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter is one of the boldest and most challenging RPGs ever created by Capcom. A complete reinvention of the series, it abandons the classic world map for a fully three-dimensional, interconnected structure deep underground. The setting is tense and claustrophobic. There are no safe ins or easy recovery spots, forcing players to depend entirely on strategy, preparation, and limited resources to survive. Its design revolves around three systems: the positive encounter and tactics system, the scenario overlay system, and the dragon counter. The positive encounter and tactics system combines exploration with turn-based battles. Enemies are visible on the map, and combat begins when either side makes contact. Before battle, players can set traps or lures, and once the fight starts, the action unfolds on a grid-based field where positioning and movement determine victory. Every move matters, and small mistakes often have heavy consequences. Experience is divided into personal and shared progress, rewarding efficiency and tactical precision. The scenario overlay system encourages replaying earlier sections to uncover new scenes, secret paths, and stronger abilities, making restarts part of the journey rather than punishment. The dragon counter adds constant pressure, increasing each time Ryu uses his dragon powers. When it reaches its limit, the game ends, turning power itself into risk. Visually striking and mechanically daring, Dragon Quarter stands out for its ambition. Yet, despite its depth and innovation, the drastic shift from the earlier games left players divided. Some called it a masterpiece. Others never fully embraced its change. The Banner Saga is a haunting tactical RPG that fuses Norse-inspired storytelling with difficult choices and harsh survival. It begins with a cruel truth: the gods are dead. Set in a frozen world where hope is fading, you lead two groups of refugees fleeing the ancient stone-like warriors known as the Dredge. Every decision, from managing supplies to keeping morale high, shapes your journey and the fate of your people. Beyond combat, leadership is everything. You must decide how to handle disputes, ration food, and spend your limited reputation, the game's form of currency, to buy supplies, upgrade weapons, or promote soldiers. One poor choice can lead to starvation, desertion, or tragedy. Every event on the road feels like a test of your values as a leader. Battles play out on grid-based fields reminiscent of Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy tactics, but with clever twists. Strength functions as both health and attack power, meaning that injured fighters deal less damage. Armor reduces incoming strikes, while willpower lets units move farther or unleash stronger attacks. Each turn forces you to choose: weaken the enemy's armor for future gain, or strike now for immediate results. Hand-drawn animation and an emotional soundtrack elevate the story's tension, turning each victory into survival rather than triumph. What makes the Banner Saga unforgettable is its emotional cruelty. Heroes can fall not through battle, but through a single wrong decision. Beautiful, cold, and relentless, it's a masterpiece of strategy and storytelling that proves true leadership always comes at a price. The Seventh Saga is one of the most demanding and distinctive RPGs from the Super Nintendo era. Released in 1993 by Enix, it tells the story of 7 heroes on the planet Tychondera, each trained by King Lemeli, son of a legendary warrior who once defeated a great evil. After years of preparation, they embark on a journey to collect 7 magical runes that grant immense power and decide who will rule the world. At the start, you choose one of these heroes, each with unique skills, weaknesses, and motivations. From the demon Leges, obsessed with surpassing Lamele, to the priest Valsu, determined to cleanse the land of evil. Though simple on the surface, the story hides twists and subtle time travel elements that give it surprising depth. Gameplay follows the traditional turn-based style, but adds unique features. Instead of random battles, a radar shows enemies as white dots, and fights begin when they reach the player. This creates constant tension, especially in narrow dungeons where escaping is nearly impossible. The Western version became famous for its difficulty. Enemies hit hard, healing is limited, and leveling requires patience. Other heroes also roam the world and may join or challenge you. Losing a battle means losing runes, forcing you to track down rivals and reclaim them. Runes can also be used in battle for temporary boosts in attack, defense, or healing. Harsh but rewarding, the Seventh Saga demands focus and strategy. Its punishing difficulty divided players. Some found it unfair, while others saw it as one of the most challenging and fascinating RPGs of its time. Digimon World 2 is one of the most challenging and unconventional turn-based RPGs on the PlayStation. Released in 2000, it took a bold step away from its predecessor, trading open exploration for a darker, slower dungeon crawling experience. You play as Akira, a rookie tamer who joins one of 3 guilds, each giving a starter Digimon like Agumon, Patamon, or Demidevimon. As the story unfolds, you uncover the sinister plans of the Blood Knights, a human group threatening the balance of the digital world. Exploration happens in vast 3D dungeons where you control a tank-like Digimon vehicle that consumes energy with every move. If it runs out, you must retreat and pay repair costs. Each labyrinth hides traps, mines, and hidden barriers, requiring careful planning and constant upgrades. Managing fuel, items, and repairs becomes as important as winning battles. Combat is fully turn-based, featuring teams of 3 Digimon. Skills are divided into attack, support, counter, and interrupt, allowing deep tactical play. Capturing Digimon demands patience. You must use items strategically to gain their trust before they engage. The battles are satisfying but slow, with long, unskippable animations that test your endurance. Evolution relies on a fusion system where Digimon combine to grow stronger, inheriting skills from both parents. It's complex and rewarding, but the grind is intense. Despite its repetition, Digimon World 2 stands as a fascinating, punishing experiment, a slow but rewarding journey that turns patience and strategy into real satisfaction. Etrian Odyssey Untold brings Atlus's classic dungeon crawling series back to life with a perfect mix of nostalgia and accessibility. Released for the Nintendo 3DS in 2013, it reimagines the first Etrian Odyssey, the 2007 title that revived the old-school challenge of 1980s dungeon crawlers. Beneath its friendly anime visuals lies a demanding RPG that rewards patience, strategy, and attention to detail. You play as a Highlander sent to the city of Etria to explore the mysterious Yggdrasil labyrinth. Exploration happens in first-person view, as you battle monsters, map out forests, and uncover hidden paths. The remake offers 2 modes: Classic, for players who want to build their own party, and Story, which adds voiced characters like Frederica, Simon, and Arthur, giving the game a deeper narrative touch. Combat is turn-based and punishing, requiring careful synergy between character classes. A single mistake can cost an entire expedition. The addition of Grimoire Stones lets characters borrow monster abilities, expanding strategy for those who experiment. It's challenging, but never unfair. Success feels earned. Artist Yuji Himukai's colorful designs and Yuzo Koshiro's soundtrack, available in both classic and remastered versions, make the journey unforgettable. The new voice acting adds warmth and immersion to the story. Refined but faithful, Etrian Odyssey Untold keeps the soul of the original intact while opening the doors to newcomers. It proves that difficulty, when balanced with beauty and heart, can still inspire players to dive deeper into the unknown. Hard West 2 is a punishing and stylish turn-based tactical RPG that blends the grit of the Old West with supernatural horror. Developed by Ice Code Games, it begins with outlaw Jin Carter and his gang attempting to rob a train full of gold, only to discover it's possessed by a demon named Mammon. Tricked into losing their souls in a deadly poker game, the gang must cross a cursed frontier to reclaim them. The mix of Western gunfights and occult powers makes every encounter intense. Each outlaw has a unique skill. Carter fires through walls, Flynn swaps places with enemies, and Laughing Deer charges with brutal force. Battles take place on richly detailed isometric maps, where cover, positioning, and timing decide survival. The bravado system rewards boldness. Kill an enemy, and your action points fully reset, allowing relentless chains of attacks that turn risk into thrill. The Deck of Haunt system ties skills to poker hands. Combining cards grants new abilities or boosts, turning luck into strategy. Between battles, you explore towns, take on side missions, and make moral choices that influence loyalty within the gang, affecting both story and combat performance. With cinematic presentation, striking art direction, and finely tuned mechanics, Hard West 2 stands among the most polished tactical RPGs of recent years. Every fight is a gamble between survival and disaster, a brutal dance of bullets and demons that proves even in the afterlife, fortune still favors the bold. Fire Emblem Thracia 776 is remembered as one of the hardest and most influential tactical RPGs ever made. Released only in Japan in 1999 for the Super Nintendo through the Nintendo Power Flash cartridge system, it arrived at the twilight of the console's life, becoming both a swan song and a test of endurance for series veterans. The story follows Prince Leif, heir to the fallen kingdom of Leinster, who leads a desperate rebellion to reclaim his homeland. Taking place between the events of genealogy of the Holy War, it's a tale of perseverance and sacrifice told through some of the most demanding tactical maps in the franchise. Thracia 776 introduced mechanics that defined its punishing identity. The fatigue system forced players to rest overused units, while mounted characters had to dismount indoors and fight on foot. The notorious Fog of War limited vision, and enemies could capture your soldiers to steal their gear. New objectives like escape and defense maps added pressure to every move, making each turn a struggle for survival. Resource scarcity, harsh enemy design, and permanent consequences made victory feel genuinely earned. While its difficulty alienated newcomers, it shaped the series' evolution and inspired many later Fire Emblem titles. Brutal yet brilliant, Fire Emblem Thracia stands as both a masterpiece of design and a symbol of the franchise's fearless experimentation, a game that rewards only those strong enough to endure its trials. Shin Megami Tensei 3 marked the rebirth of the franchise after nearly a decade of silence, redefining what a turn-based RPG could be. Released for the PlayStation 2 in 2003, it throws players into the Vortex world, a twisted, post-apocalyptic Tokyo reborn after the mysterious conception. You play as a high school student transformed into a half-demon who must choose between three conflicting philosophies, known as reasons, to decide how the world will be remade. The game's iconic press turn system revolutionized combat. Landing critical hits or exploiting weaknesses grants extra turns, while blocked or reflected attacks erase them all. It's a high-risk, high-reward mechanic that forces careful planning, where every decision can lead to triumph or annihilation. The system became so influential, it shaped future Atlas games like Persona 3 and Shin Megami Tensei 5. Nocturne also centers around demon negotiation. Instead of merely defeating enemies, you can talk to them, bribe them, or answer philosophical questions to recruit them as allies. Each demon reacts differently depending on its temperament and the moon phase, making every encounter unpredictable and tense. Character growth is tied to megatamas, living parasites that grant new powers and change your strengths, weaknesses, and even how other demons perceive you. Choosing which megatama to master can drastically alter your build and strategy, turning every level up into a moral and tactical decision. Dark, oppressive, and deeply philosophical, Nocturne is both a nightmare and a masterpiece. A game about survival, belief, and transformation. It challenges you to embrace chaos, endure suffering, and decide what kind of god you'll become when the old world finally ends. And that's it, folks. We've reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed this list of brutal, soul-crushing RPGs, don't forget to drop a like. It really helps the channel grow. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, because there's a lot more coming. From punishing classics to modern RPGs that'll break you in the best way possible. Thanks for watching till the end. Let me know in the comments which of these games tested your sanity the most. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.